Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about losing weight once, not all at once. What a distinction, because if you're like most dieters, you're probably trying to lose all the weight at once, as fast as you possibly can. How else would you lose it, right? Any alternative is almost non-existent. The only way to lose weight is fast and furious, right? Change everything all at once on some random Monday and ride that change out until your goal weight as fast as you possibly can. And it is exactly this approach that is causing you all the trouble. It's exactly this approach that's causing you to be at your overweight weight. Because by trying to change everything all at once, you overwhelm yourself and you can't keep it up. And if you can't keep something up, you can't really get the results you want to get. So the most important piece, I believe, of mastering your weight long-term and short-term is to have a mindset that you're going to do this one time, that you're going to strategically and systematically change your thinking, your lifestyle, and your eating into that of a thin and healthy person, so that you not only lose weight, but that you lose weight because you're transforming parts of yourself, of how you think, how you live, and how you eat for good. Not dieting where you're dramatically changing things for a little while to lose weight quickly. And then what? Well, I'll deal with it then. Instead, you approach it from on day one, you're building up your foundation. You're building up this system, this structure, this strategy in order to become a thin and healthy person and then live the rest of your life as this thin, healthy person on your autopilot. That's the goal. And it's such a different goal. To put it in a different context, when you went to college, if you went to college, that was an example of do it once. Let me go learn this stuff, get this degree, then move on. And if you approach your weight that way, it's completely different, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to very quickly just make drastic changes in your behaviors. But there's no foundation under it. There's no shift in your mindset. Usually there's no shift in your lifestyle. There's just a dramatic change in your eating for a little while. And because you're trying to do it all at once, trying to do it as fast as you can, you're overwhelming yourself. Because if your goal, if your idea of weight loss is to lose it as fast as you can, it makes sense that the fastest way you can lose weight is the most extreme thing you have to do. So if we take that to the extreme, the fastest way to lose weight is to just stop eating and drinking, right? That'd be the fastest way to lose weight. But it's also the shortest strategy. You're not going to be able to keep that up. You can't just not eat. And so we've got to take both sides into account. And if you start to look at it this way, you're going to start to realize that almost everything you've done to change your weight has been extreme. It's been a huge overreaction and you've felt overwhelmed by it. And now when you think about doing it, you push back on it because you don't want to do it. You don't like it. It sucks. Dieting and weight loss to you now is associated with it. It sucks. It's hard. It's difficult. I'm deprived. I'm frustrated. I'm emotional all over the place. And that's what you need to change. Because if you can start to look at, I'm going to do this once, well, now you got a much longer time frame. Now we can start to walk this path of weight mastery in a much slower, more comfortable way. And that becomes part of the process. If we think about doing something and oh my God, oh God, I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to cutting every carb out of my life. Oh God. We don't want that energy. If we feel that, whoa, let me take a step back. I don't have to cut all the carbs out. Maybe I'll just start cutting out the cookies. Maybe I'll just start cutting out the worst carbs. Maybe I'll just start drinking some water. We can start small. We can build on that. And that is how you succeed in pretty much every area of your life, except for weight loss. With weight loss, you're supposed to be able to jump into the perfect plan on day one, 100% change your eating and start losing weight. But that's not what happens. What happens most of the time is you start your plan, you get overwhelmed, and you quit your plan. And then you have to keep repeating the cycle over and over because you never make a true, genuine change in how you think about your weight. in fundamental ways. Again, the mindset, lifestyle, eating piece as well. So that was my advice for you today, is start focusing on doing this one time. Make that the goal and let go of trying to do it all at once. Bring a little patience into here simply because you're really not being patient by starting slow. Do you understand what I mean? Because if you're impatient and you only do dramatic things to lose weight, where are you at? You're probably overweight, and you've probably been overweight for decades. So when I'm talking about patience, it's really not patience, because your fast approach is actually the slow approach. It's not even working. And my slow approach is actually the fast approach, because it actually works and gets you done with this and allows you to live at your goal weight for the rest of your life. So if you want to go deeper into this, click the link in my bio or go to programyourselfthin.com and get the free hypnosis session I give you. Watch the video I made, read the emails I sent, and check that out. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. What's up, Rachel? How's it going? How's it going, Eileen? Hope everyone's having a good day. Got started right at noon today. Told you I'd do it, and I did. Yeah. What's up, Karen? How's it going? Karen says, I learned the hard way to lose it slow. You're so right, Jim. Now I've lost it and kept it off. Yeah, great job, Karen. Yeah. Again, the diets are not there on your side. They're not your friends, the diets. I hate to tell you this. You've been lied to your whole life. Oh, gasp, right? But we're used to that now, right? I think we're used to being lied to by our heroes. So anyways, though, the diets are not on your side. It's a trick. The food companies own most of the diets you know of. They're filling your head with rocks for 100 years about how to lose weight. And yeah, that's that. There it is. So the reason you're struggling with your weight is not because you don't have willpower. It's not because you're a food addict. It's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's because you don't know how to live as a thin, healthy person. No one's ever taught you that. No one's ever trained you that. And yeah, what you try to do is lose weight as fast as you can in the most dramatic way possible. It don't last, but then you beat yourself up. That's the dieting way. It don't work. Stop doing it. Yeah. And charge something up here. What's up, Mario? How's it going? What you been up to, Mario? Mario says, my weight's gone up again. Felt so great with the new hobby and stuff. Almost forgot about food for a second, but now I'm 15 pounds up. That'll happen. That will happen, Mario. Again, probably just from what you're saying, classic case of the licensing effect there. And yeah, anytime you start with a sorry to be distracted here for a second. Anytime you start with a new hobby or some new activity, I should say, new physical output activity, whether it's a hobby, sport, exercise, whatever, watch out for the licensing effect. Meaning you're going to be so kind of happy and proud of yourself for doing this new thing that you're going to pull attention away from your reading. Stop. So be careful of that. That's so common. So common. Mario says, it's just weird because I was being super active almost every day. Yeah, but when you're super active, when you're more active, when all of a sudden you become super active when you weren't, you're focused on that. Oh my God, I'm active now. I'm burning calories, all the rest of it. What you don't see, if you're not paying attention, is now you're going to be hungrier too. If you're more active, you're going to be hungry and you're going to eat more. So that's a big part of why the licensing effect, how it works. Although that's not really a licensing effect, but your awareness of it is part of that. And so I mean, just becoming more active, you're just gonna be hungrier. That's just that piece. But the other piece though is that you're so proud of yourself and so happy with yourself for doing something active, and you're so looking at that piece of the equation that you're not paying attention to the food piece as much. Like you said, I kind of took my eye off it. And if you become way more active and then don't really pay attention to the food thing, you can almost guarantee you're either going to stay the same weight or put weight on, because you're going to eat more. And you're taking the brakes off a little bit because you're, again, more focused on the activity side of it. So hopefully you learn a lesson from that, Mario, because that's very common. What's up, Vicky? He says you're amazing. Thank you. Yeah, don't worry, Mario. Again, it's not sweating your ass off. Yeah. Yeah, again, you see, like, I can already tell, and this is just common, all of a sudden you start doing lots of stuff and you're like super sweating and you're just like super aware of it. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so active. I'm doing so much. And it just feels like it's new and it's different. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And your brain and body well, your brain especially kind of overstates what you're burning. So it's like, oh my God, I must be burning an extra 1,500 calories a day or something. It doesn't matter what I eat now. I'm still going to lose weight. And then not so much. So very common. So just pay attention to the eating and dial it back a little bit. Although you're going to be hungrier than you were before you're active. So you're going to have to eat a little bit more, but just don't eat as much as you have been eating. That makes sense. Dial it down a little. Mario says, I'm starting to read The Beauty Myth because of you. Thanks. It's been so eye-opening. Oh, great. Yeah, Mario, you love that. Beauty Myth is so good. I love that book. I got to teach that lesson actually. But that's a great book. And I think it's very eye-opening for sure. And I think it matters too. I mean, it's really about women in society and how they've been, kind of trained with this beauty myth to have beauty standards that are just ridiculous and not helpful. But I think everyone can learn from it because it's a lot about the conditioning. That book actually kind of led me to the Advertising in the American Age, which I'm on now, which I don't love reading it. It's not a great read. It's almost like a textbook, but it has got really interesting stuff in there. So that part's true. So yeah, I'm glad you're reading that because I think the more stuff the better. For sure. It's definitely not easy to read, but I think everyone should read it. Yeah, I agree, Mario. Yeah. The Beauty Myth. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're a woman. I mean, if you're a woman, this is a book you really I've said this before when I was reading it, that I think it'll validate a lot of thoughts and ideas and intuitions you've had your whole life. And I think it'll make you feel better because a lot of the things you're seeing and feeling and all the rest of it, they're never articulated really. There's kind of there and we all kind of know it, but this book I think articulates them very clearly and helps you realize, women especially, what you're up against, with the whole beauty thing. And that book especially, it was like that book was written in 91 or 93 or something. So I was even before social media. So it's crazy to read that. And it definitely is kind of like the worst nightmare scenario of where things could have gone in a lot of ways. But anyways, yeah, great book that is. But yeah, but if anyone's got any weight questions, feel free to ask them. Just Jade said, I started that book, but it was so depressing, enlightening, but depressing. Yep. I need to pick it back up again. I get it. I get what you're saying. I feel the same way. I'll feel that way about the advertising thing too, both of them. And I think they both make me feel bad because I think anytime you really like look at, in America, we are all consumers and we've just been conditioned and brainwashed to be consumers our whole lives. And we're so influenced in so many ways. And I think that, not ways that benefit us either. One of the main things I take out of the advertising book is this concept and idea that one of the big things they do to create people buying more stuff is to install an inferiority complex. And so a lot of marketing, and especially for women, but a lot of marketing is built around making you feel shitty about yourself or making you feel bad or depressed or negative in some way, inferior. And from that place, then they sell their bullshit. And so you start to realize, geez, your entire life, like literally your entire life, you've been conditioned, especially women though, but you've been conditioned to just think in a way that's not really great for your mental health and happiness. So in that way, it is depressing. I wouldn't disagree. The Beauty Myth even just more right to the point of it all. But on the other hand, it's like once you understand these things in a more specific way, I think you now have the chance and even the potential to actually correct them and fix them. Otherwise, you're kind of just in, what do they say? Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is also pain, both. Right. And so if you're not happy with your weight and you're not happy with how you feel day in and day out, you're not happy with yourself, then I think sometimes it is helpful to see the specifics of what's going on and, work to change it for real. So yeah, those books are good like that. Mario said, what do you do when you notice you gain weight? Like the first thing. Okay, well, let's talk about that because I have gained weight and I find this fascinating. I just catch you up here. During the holidays, pretty much every holiday season, December-ish for the last couple weeks of the month, I kind of go in vacation mode. I call vacation holiday mode. So I drink a little more wine, eat a little more bullshit, whatever. And then I usually pretty much get back on track within the first couple of weeks of January. Well, this year I come on vacation right after there and whatever. Long story short, through holidays, vacation, beginning of January, put like 7 pounds on, I think. And so I don't care. I mean, I was fine with that, and I know it's just an outlier thing. I'll come back down all the rest of it. But then life just kind of got away from me a little bit, as it does sometimes. Okay, nothing too bad, but just enough to kind of like just things, a wave of thing after thing, just made life challenging, and different things come up and whatever. And so usually I would have dropped that weight, and now I find myself add an extra pound onto it. I'm 8 pounds up now, And again, I can look at it, I can see exactly why. I know why. I'm aware of it. I still maintain a lot of stuff, but I can see exactly where that weight has come from. And where's it come from? I start to notice now again. So the first step is always awareness. Awareness precedes change. And the first thing I'm saying, okay, what's the awareness of it? And so I'm very aware of the eating consumption shifts. There's a little bit more wine. There's a little bit more bread, a little bit more cookies, a little bit more treats, a little bit more dessert, a little bit more dinners. And so I'm aware of where those calories are coming in, and I'm aware of why they happen. Some of it is I just got a little bit off track, mentally, mindset wise, a little bit off track. It's fine. It's normal. That's a normal, natural thing. So what do I focus on to get the weight back down? Well, first of all, so I'll tell you right now, because I'm literally in that spot. So I'm 8 pounds up and I want to get it down at least 5 pounds to be in a range I feel my best at. And so the first thing is I think about losing that weight. Metaphorically, I always reference like how you turn like a cruise ship around. And if a cruise ship's going to turn around, it doesn't just turn like that. Okay. It turns like this. Right. So I'm looking for slow, comfortable, sustainable shifts and changes back to my goal weight. And so I will look at the eating behavior. So the first thing I will do is I'll start to cut back the wine. That's the easiest thing for me to do. Okay. So I'll cut the wine back. That'll help. The next thing I'll do is I'm not making any more cookies. So I know the cookies kind of came in my life, so I'm going to end those out. The next thing is, what is the next thing I will focus on? Let me think about this for a second. The next thing I'll do is I notice the weekends got a little sloppier too. And I use that language. I use like, in my mind, a lot of times I think of like, kind of like loosening or tightening my belt, that kind of energy. And I kind of just loosen my belt with things, loosen my awareness, allow myself to kind of just do what I do, not influence it as much. So I will start to dial that back up. I'll start to kind of tighten things up a little bit. And I will focus more on the weekends, especially like a Sunday, cleaning that up a bit. So I'm set up more for the week, cleaning up my Monday dinners. So those are super duper duper healthy again. Take out the wine. I will probably slice a little bit out of my salads. My salads, the calories have snuck in there in sneaky ways through extra croutons, extra blue cheese that I've been putting in there. I'll dial that back a bit, just a bit. So I will hardly even notice it. And then I will kind of reassess things. But for me, it's a slow, gradual process of tightening things up comfortably. So that's what I do. And that's what I think, that's how I would suggest it. Let's see. Gail, I think Gail just signed up for the program yesterday. So yes, can you give me your email address? Yeah, jim@programyourselfthin.com. And if you had any issues signing up yesterday, there was a technical whirlwind in the world, folks. I don't know if you know this, but Zoom was down. I have noticed kind of some weird stuff going on this week, but especially yesterday, it was weird. So we had to cancel a coaching call we ordered to do it. So sorry about that for everyone. But yeah. Anyways, but yeah, email me at jim@programyourselfthin.com. And or you can message me through Instagram, and I'll get back to you. Uzo Linum says, I feel like it's not good to count calories, just be intuitive. You can feel physical hunger. That's how you know to eat. I kind of agree and disagree with you. I agree that counting calories isn't good and sustainable for most people. You know what, Gail, I'll just type it in the chat for you. Boop. There you go. So yes, I'm not a big fan of counting calories, like tracking them every single day. I think it's a weird way to eat, and it's unsustainable for most people, and it's unpleasant. It's tedious. So I don't like that. On the other hand, though, I don't really think like just be intuitive. I think the idea of just be intuitive is like fantasy land. Like, I don't think you can just be intuitive. Like, there's aspects of eating that, yes, you can be intuitive. Like, there's aspects of it, like your hunger. Did I eat enough? This stuff here, okay. But I don't think that intuitive eating is a very complete strategy for changing your eating. I like a lot of it. Like, I like a lot of it within a more refined structure. But I'm a big believer that you need to structure your eating. I think that's, rule number one of Program Yourself Thin is that there's no right or wrong. There's only what works for you. Rule number two is that you got to structure your eating. It's the one exception to that rule. I have never seen anyone successfully lose weight and keep it off who didn't have some structure to their eating. I certainly couldn't do it. And I don't know. Like, I like to think I'm a fairly intuitive eater, but, as soon as I don't have my structure, my eating intuitively starts gaining weight. Remember, if you're overweight, your intuitions are that of an overweight person. So what do you mean by intuitions? Susan says, how can you not have intuition though? Like, come on, I think most Americans are just dumb. I mean, what do you even mean by intuition? What do you mean by intuition? First of all, what are you referring to? Because you know what intuitions all humans have is to eat everything in front of them. There's a thing called spontaneous voracity. We evolved over millions of years in a food scarce environment. So our mind and body, when they see food, our brain and body want to eat all of it. So yeah, Uzolino says, I lost weight by just eating intuitively. I can almost guarantee you there was a lot more to it, but great. Yeah, if you lost eating intuitively, that's wonderful. I don't know what your story is. I don't know how much overweight you were. I feel hunger and then eat. Hey, there you go. Well, you know what? I guess I'll just sign off. It's that easy, folks. Just feel your hunger and then eat, and then stop eating when you're full. I'm happy that worked for you, by the way. So I'm not that back to rule number one, right? There's no right or wrong. There's only what works for you. So please understand that I respect that intuitive eating for you is the perfect answer. But I also understand that for most people, intuitive eating is not enough for them to change their eating. So Uzo, if you want to tell me your story, I would love to know like what your weight history was. Uzo says, dude, you're so mean. I don't know if I'm being mean. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm being mean because I think, you have to understand my point of view is that I take this is literally my life's work, is helping people live at their goal weight is literally my life's work. And almost 100% of the weight loss industry is complete and total bullshit. And I'm going to pop intuitive eating right in there, which, listen, every weight loss idea has valuable elements in it. No doubt about it. Intuitive eating for sure. But intuitive eating, again, it's not even a weight loss plan. It's just, it's a philosophy, an idea. I agree with it, but I just think for people that are overweight and have been struggling with food to just listen to your body. What? Listen to their body. What if they're used to like overeating for 50 years? What if they've been stuffing themselves full for 50 years and they have no sensitivity to what's full, what's enough? I tried diets before and then I found out about intuitive eating and it somehow worked perfectly, lost 40. That's super. How long you been down the 40 pounds? Where are you at in the process? I mean, did you just lose 40 pounds? Do you want more weight to lose? Have you lost the 40 pounds and kept it off the last 10 years? How long were you overweight? Again, this is my thing, folks. This is my number one message with diet marketing is that diet marketing is built around the person, the outlier who gets amazing results with the system. And then they say, look, I lost 40 pounds doing intuitive eating. And again, I'm not disputing it. I think it's great, but that worked for you based on your brain, your genetics, your environment, your history, your situation. And the problem with weight loss marketing is that, well, if this person did it, I can do it. Well, you ain't this person. You ain't Uzo. Uzo's not even in America, from what I can tell. Uzo thinks Americans are dumb. I guess we're all dumb in some ways. I wouldn't disagree with that. I don't say it dumb, though. I'd say Americans have been exposed to more propaganda, commercial conditioning than any people on the planet in history. And most of that propaganda, or at least a huge part of it, is around eating more food. So, I do think that there's an impact to that. But I think we have to stop looking at the person and say, oh my God, I lost 100 pounds on keto. I'm going to do keto. And I think that's the core problem of weight loss. We just jump into a plan because it worked for someone else. Well, that ain't for you. So again, in Program Yourself Thin, we absolutely use aspects of intuitive eating. So there's aspects of it I think are wonderful. I just think for the vast majority of people, and it's the same for all of it, I get the same thing with everything. Oh, I lost all this weight doing carnivore, keto, intermittent fasting, Weight Watchers. Pick your thing. There's always people who have successfully lost weight on it. But they don't work for everyone. And so we got to customize to ourselves. So again, I learned from all the diets and plans in service of creating a one size fits one plan. No, there you go. And now the truth reveals itself. It always does with dieters. It always does with dieters. The truth always reveals itself. Is the thing is I've been on vacation and gained some weight, so I got to lock in again. But soon, every time I do intuitive eating, so that implies that it's a temporary thing you do to lose weight. Every time I do it, I've done it multiple times. It works perfectly to help me lose weight. I kept it off for a couple months. So once again, I'm undefeated when it comes to debating dieters. I've never lost, and I never will, because diets are meant to lose weight. What I'm talking about is how to live at your goal weight. And so once again, Uzo reveals that this intuitive eating is a diet they use to lose weight after they put weight back on. So I'm talking about losing weight and keeping it off forever. And intuitive eating by itself isn't going to do that for you. It's a good strategy to use for a little while. Why don't you just keep doing it? So I can lose it again easily. I just got to jump back into that mode again. Yeah. Well, I'm talking about being in the same thin and healthy mode forever, so you don't have to jump back into weight loss mode. And that's where intuitive eating, again, it's a strategy to lose weight for a little while. I'm talking about living in a way where you live at your goal weight forever. So they're two totally different goals. So by the way, I wouldn't argue with any of the diets. They all work to help you lose weight for a little while, because intuitive eating is not intuitive eating. Intuitive eating is how you naturally eat when you're not intuitive eating, by the way. So what you're doing is you're saying intuitive eating, but what you really mean is that I'm being more focused on my eating consciously. I'm consciously becoming much more aware of what I'm eating. And then I lose the weight, and then I let that go, and I slip back into my intuitive eating, and my weight goes up. Then I start intuitive eating, which really just means I'm going to be more conscious of the decisions I'm making, make healthier choices. And then I'll lose the weight, and then I'll go back to being an intuitive eater and listen to my intuitions, and my weight goes back up. That's what I'm getting out of that. Now, again, I'm picking on Uzo a little bit. I'm glad you found something that worked for you, but again, I would want you to elevate your goal from not just having a strategy of how to lose weight when you put it back on, but to start focusing on how can I just live at my goal weight for good. I mean, again, you go on vacation and stuff. Obviously, your weight might go up a little bit, then you come back. But your language is kind of implying that it goes up, I intuitive eat, it comes down, it goes up, I intuitive eat, it comes back down. Unless I'm misunderstanding that. Kelly says, yeah, I always eat intuitively on vacation. I always gain weight. Listen, every time I eat intuitively, I gain weight. Now, again, I know what most people are talking about when they say intuitive eating. They're talking about paying attention to their hunger signals. And we do that in Program Yourself Thin. Very specifically, though, it's about paying attention to your hunger signals. When am I genuinely hungry? When am I satisfied? Stop. Okay. But that intuitive eating is within a much more robust structure and plan, because just doing that to me is not enough. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Again, Uzo says, "The thing is, even with my intuitions, I just love high-calorie food, so it's not easy at all." Again, Uzo, it's because your intuitions are to love high-calorie foods. That back to the very first thing I said about our intuitions. We all love high-calorie food, and we all wanna eat as much calories as possible, 'cause our brain and body think that's the last meal we're ever gonna eat. To be honest, in my opinion, I think this process is one of upgrading our mental software, because the software and hardware we're born into in the world is that of an overweight person in this environment. Now, if you drop us off in the woods, we can have the same software and hardware and we'll be our normal weight because there's not an abundance of food. The problem now is that we come into this world, this alien world, surrounded by hyper addictive, hyper palatable foods. And we have this old software that says, shit, I don't know, I'm going to eat again. I don't want to eat again. And it wants us to eat everything, 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 everything. Right? So Izzo says, damn, dude, you might be right. Sorry. Do not be sorry, please. I live for this. I welcome it. I haven't had one of these in a while. Uzo says, this sucks. I've done dieting for years now. Uzo, again, welcome to the program. I've gone through this so many times. And so I appreciate what you've done. I want you to understand you're in a good spot. You can build on your success, but you need to add more to it. So again, this isn't me saying stop what you're doing. It doesn't work. You have to do something completely different. It's saying do what you're doing that's working, but let's start. Let's fucking want more. Let's want more. You can have things be better, and you're starting from a nice spot because you got, again, if you do have some intuitive skills to tap into your hunger, you can utilize those a lot more in a systemic way with Program Yourself Thin than you would be able to do just magically saying intuitive eating. So have you ever been overweight? You look like a typical gym bro who posts meal prep and diet tips. I love when people say that because it's so funny. You have to understand, like, I did a whole series. Well, I was overweight. I was 50 pounds heavier. 30 years ago, I dropped the weight and I lived at the same weight for 30 years. That's what I'm always want to put out there as the main thing. I've maintained my exact weight for 30 years. That's the secret. That's what makes me a bit different. I did have one blip 12 years ago. I put 25 pounds on, but my message is about living at your goal weight, not just getting there. And it's a completely different paradigm and philosophy. But yeah, the typical bro thing is so funny to me because I literally did a series. I've been doing this professionally for over 20 years, done 6,000 private weight loss sessions. You know, this is what I do. But I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I did an interview series with a lot of the top fitness trainers, nutritionists on the planet, like big names, people you would know. And I did like 40 of them almost. And I remember they would look at me and they would call me skinny fat. So it's like to have someone say I look like a typical gym bro is hilarious to me. Because they think I'm skinny fat, don't want anything to do with me. They don't think I look good at all. So yeah, that's funny. But people have said that before too. I find that so funny because I don't think I look anything like a typical gym bro. I hate the gym. 30 years of living at my goal weight. I haven't done one diet and I've done I've done a little bit of working out here and there for a month or two, but I never work out. I do yoga, but anyways, it's funny. Do you do private sessions? I do private sessions, but to be honest, I mean, it's, what you'd want to do if you want to find out about my program and everything is to go to programyourselfthin.com or click the link in my bio, get the hypnosis session, check it out. And my private sessions, that's another thing. I'm one of the highest paid hypnotists on the planet. So, it's, to work with me privately, a session is, and I really don't even suggest them, but to work with me in my coaching capacity for 12 weeks is 25 grand. So I would suggest that the program, and there's a group coaching component that is a tremendous value that you can do. And if you have information about that, ask me, I can send it to you. It just says, if you're skinny fat, I'm morbidly obese. No, I get it. But it's just because of the tone. I mean, it's because that's what I mean. Like, and that's the all or nothing thinking, you know what I mean? That anyone can get wrapped up in. But yeah, I'm literally at the exact kind of ideal weight I want to be at, but I'm not like well-defined yet. Although I have started doing resistance training for aging reasons now, because we'll see. Maybe it's not out of the question yet, but I have not been like well-defined muscularly my adult life. Okay. And I'm fine with that. I don't give a shit. But yeah, people have different definitions of things. So anyways, Paul says, I wish my intuitive eating barometer was not defective. Yes, I get it, Paul. Again, mine is too. I will just, I'm seeing it now. Literally, I'm a master of my weight. I mean, I've literally been doing this for over 30 years personally, over 20 years professionally. And I've mastered my weight for over 30 years. And even still, that's what I was just trying to share with you, that even the last 3-4 months, my weight's gone up a bit, So it's like, why? Because I've taken my eye off the ball a little bit. I've gotten less focused with some things. And to start to trust my intuitive nature a little bit more. My intuitive nature brings me right to being overweight. I will tell you. That's what happened 12 years ago. It was just a crazy time of life. And my intuitions, and that's how I think of it. My natural intuitions bring me right to being overweight. So I do have to manage it. But that's me. What's up, Sherry? Sherry says, I have successfully lost weight on all the plans, but always even put back even more on. Yeah. This is the first time in my life that I'm consistently going in the right direction. Yeah. Sherry's in the program, right? My hunger signals have always been so screwed up because my mindset wasn't right. Gym and Program Yourself In is really helping me to turn that around. I'm learning to rely on my mindset to get healthy and stay there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what we do in the program. Again, it's a very systematic, strategic approach to mastering your weight. And that's the biggest distinction, I will say. The whole diet weight loss industry is focusing you on weight loss, which is the phase of going from where you're at to your goal weight. And subconsciously, what that means is you start to think of your goal weight as the finish line. That's the point of it. And when you think of it that way, now you say, well, I just want to get there as fast as I possibly can. But there's nothing really after that. Your maintenance is treated as an afterthought. And so Program Yourself In and Weight Mastery is about living at your goal weight. Getting to your goal weight as fast as you can and living at your goal weight for the rest of your life on your autopilot are two totally different things. And when you start to learn how to live at your goal weight for the rest of your life on your autopilot, it's not rocket science. It's just shit you've never learned before. So, then you can finally start getting the results you want. Again, it's not rocket science. It's just that you've been bullshitted your whole life by the weight loss industry. What's up, Darlene? It says, I'm assuming it says, I'm also in my 30s, and I think at this age, it's harder to lose weight. Would you agree, or does it not matter? Oh, no. 30s. Most of my clients are usually late 40s, 50s into their 70s, and they're all losing weight. So the age thing is an illusion. Not to say that it isn't a factor. I would say it is a factor to some degree. You may lose weight a little slower. There may be some other things, but you can absolutely lose weight. Your weight comes down to your calorie consumption on average. Japanese women stay at the same BMI all their lives. Menopause, age, all of it. So you can absolutely still lose weight, even in your 30s. No, I am not in my 30s. I wish. That's nice of you to say, though. I am 50 years old. So it's funny. Kelly says, I'm better now at recognizing what eating feels good and what doesn't. Yep. More in touch with my body and better connection between mind and body. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the intuition. That's why I find the intuition thing. It's because I like a lot of the intuitive. I feel about intuitive eating the same way I do about law of attraction, actually. And I like both of them. I like both of them. They've got good points and I believe them. And there's a lot of neuroscience behind both of them in a way. But they're marketed too simplistically. And I hate that part of it. Law of attraction, like just by itself, I think is a crock of shit. I like it as a piece of a puzzle. I love intuitive eating as a piece, but I do not think either of them, I would not hang my hat on either of them. I mean, if you're really serious about mastering your weight, that is not enough. Come on. Come on. You need a real holistic plan and strategy. Again, I mean, Program Yourself In is the number one weight mastery program on the planet. Now, okay, fine. It might be the only weight mastery program on the planet, but even when other people start copying me and making weight mastery programs, it'll be nothing like this. This is the most comprehensive. It's like Weight Mastery College. I really show you. And we've built around the weight mastery pyramid: mindset, lifestyle, eating. How do you get those dialed in so that you can live as a thin and healthy person for the rest of your life on near autopilot? And I say on near autopilot because we want most of it. You want to reference like brushing your teeth. That's a behavior you do on near autopilot, right? You pretty much program this behavior in and you kind of just do it now on mostly autopilot, but there's a party that's kind of watching that you're doing it too. right? So that's how we want to master our weight. I got our mindset, our lifestyle, and our eating pretty dialed in. You're always going to have to pay some attention, but most of it's happening subconsciously, automatically, naturally. That's kind of the goal of the program, you know? At the end, being thing makes people look younger. Not necessarily. I mean, yes, I am at my weight that I want to be at, but I mean, the other side of it is for 30 years, I've been obsessed with my health and happiness. And I really mean both of those. And so it's not just a weight thing. It's really, I say this all the time, my eating controls my weight, but my lifestyle is really what controls most of my happiness and I think my health. And so the lifestyle program we follow in the program in order of importance is sleeping, hydration, relaxation, breathing, nourishment, movement, meditation, gratitude, 2 bonus ones, learning and hobbies. But I take all these so serious and I have for a long time. And so I think that's a huge part. It's not just me cutting my food down. It's me getting, and it's been a process. It's been a journey of improving my sleep quality and quantity, improving my hydration levels so they're consistently optimal, relaxing, breathing every day, nourishing myself at a high level, moving my body more and more, meditating, quieting my mind, expressing and practicing gratitude, developing that ability, leaning on hobbies, learning constantly. So you put all these things together, and I think it sets you up to be the best version of you, the happiest, healthiest version of you. And that's the goal. It's not just to lose weight, which is what diets try to do. So it says, I wish my only motivation wasn't my looks, but I honestly just want to get a boyfriend and that's my motivation. I totally get that, Uzo. I get that a lot, especially from younger women, for sure. Because again, you're just kind of conditioned that way. And you know what I always say, I would strongly recommend, by the way, that you get on my email list, because what I'm sending out, I got it ready to go, is the goal weight quiz to help you choose a better goal weight. And you're the exact person that this would help, because I know you think wanting to look better is enough. All of you think that. You've been conditioned to think that, and I don't blame you. But it's almost never enough. As I like to say, you weigh what you want to weigh. And the truth for most people is they don't really give a shit that much about what they weigh. You know, y'all weigh what you want to weigh, just so you know. But anyways, I know most of you think, well, no, I really want to look good. No, I really, really want to get a boyfriend. I really want to look good. You know, and you might be different. I mean, you got to your goal weight. So you're not really, to be completely honest, you're not the typical client. Most of my clients are usually between the ages of 45 and 70. Usually 45 to 70-year-old women, smart, overthinkers, perfectionists, action takers, successful professionally or personally, whatever you've decided to do in your life, you're good at. Those are the people I work with typically. But yeah, a lot of people think that wanting to look better should be enough motivation. It's not, because when you understand motivation, scientifically, that's called extrinsic motivation. It's an extrinsic reward. It's the lowest form of motivation. It's the weakest form of motivation, even though you think it's the strongest. I know. But the strongest motivation is actually intrinsic rewards, intrinsic motivation. And now listen, I still, you can still want to look great and still want to have a boyfriend, but why not also want to feel more calm or peaceful? Why not? Wouldn't you want to think more clearly, have more energy, be more successful at school or work or with your relationships? Because your appearance and your desire to get a boyfriend, how could they not be impacted by your mindset, how you feel about yourself, your confidence level, your sense of security in your ability to be who you want to be? It says I typically work with smart people. You're not my typical client. No. I don't mean that. Right. I didn't mean that, by the way. I meant you're not my typical client because you're younger and you are still in a phase of life where looking a certain way does carry a lot of intrinsic value with it as well. So again, if you've been married for 30 years and you're a grandparent, the looks part, as you get older, the looks part becomes less important and the functional part becomes more important. So that's funny. Yeah, I didn't mean that you're not a smart person, by the way. Please don't take it that way. Yeah, it does sound that way. I didn't finish my thought well. But I mostly meant just the age thing and the situation thing. So most of my clients are, like I said, 45 to 70. They're just in a different phase of life. And the looking piece just becomes less important as you get older, still important, but less important typically. Because it says, honestly, I just feel like without looking good, no one even cares what kind of person I am. Fine, but when when you look amazing and they do find out what kind of person you are, don't you want to be the best version of yourself possible? Program Yourself then takes weight loss and wraps it in personal development. So the reality is, don't tell anyone, but Program Yourself then truly is a personal development program where you work on becoming the best version of you, and the best version of you weighs a certain weight. But notice that shift in how we're thinking about it. It's not about just because you're a certain number that's the best version of you. That's fucking not true. Because there's lots of thin people that are dipshits. They're awful people, miserable. So your weight doesn't define your quality of person. No way. Not by itself. Now it influences it. If you hate your weight, if you hate your body, if you hate yourself for being 80 pounds overweight, it's not the way you look that's messing you up the most. It's how you think and feel about yourself that's decreasing your quality of life so much. So again, the idea that just looking better is the only thing that matters. I get it, because that's what you've been trained to believe your whole life. Back to I don't know if you heard that, Uzo. We were talking about the beauty myth. That a great book. I strongly recommend it, especially for literally any woman alive. I think it's valuable, and every person alive, I think it's valuable. But I get it. I get you trained and been raised to think that your looks are the only thing that matter. I get it. It's depressing, and I get it though. So again, I'm not telling you not to worry about your looks. I'm not telling you that. You're always going to want to look as good as you can. Continue to do that. What I'm saying is, let's bring a lot more motivation in, because here's the crazy part. How you eat, your weight is a reflection of how you eat and live. Okay. But how you eat and live is the main cause of your quality of life. So you eat like shit, you feel like shit, physically, mentally, emotionally. You eat well, you feel brighter, you feel healthier, you have more energy, you are happier typically. So, we put it backwards. We think the scale, the number, how we look is going to that's the reason we feel the way we feel. But I think it's the eating and the lifestyle that causes us to feel better. And then that allows us to lose the weight and look better. And I think the best looking people are people that are at their goal weight in a way that really, truly resonates with them, and that allows them to be the best version of themselves possible. I think that's the most attractive person you could be, compared to someone who only cares about weight and is starving themselves, miserable about it, still not happy with how they look. So that's just my thoughts. But, oh, I read that book. So relatable, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, great book. I'm glad you read that. So yeah, again, again, you can read it. And again, if you're under a lifetime of conditioning, you'll read that book and it'll go in one ear and out the other, because the conditioning is so powerful in this culture. I don't even feel like shit after eating fast food. I don't know why. I feel great even. That's not true. That's not true. That's bullshit. I can't tell you the number of times I heard, oh, no, Jim, when I go and eat fast food, I feel amazing. I feel great even. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's just an example. By the way, don't take this wrong. It always comes back to this. You're so not intuitive. You're so out of connection with your body and mind and emotions that you think when you eat fast food that you feel amazing and great even. And I promise you, you don't. That is that absolute evidence that you're completely disconnected. So the fact that you're disconnected from your mental, emotional, physical consequences of eating fast food proved to me that you're not an intuitive eater anyways. You're literally the opposite. Your intuitions all bring you the wrong way. Your intuitions make you think when you eat fast food, you love it and you feel great even. And that's not even true. I know, I don't even know Uzo, but I know for a fact that when they eat fast food, they don't feel great even. None of you do. None of you feel great when you eat fast food. You think you do, because the way you have to understand this is there's pleasure and there's happiness. So anytime you eat junk food stuff, fast food stuff, processed food stuff, you get a boost of pleasure. You get a spike of pleasure. And that's what you've been conditioned your whole life to focus on. But the higher that spike goes, the harder that crash is, and the more the impact moving on. So we have to look at the initial pleasure and the long-term happiness. So when you eat fast food, now, especially if you're struggling with your weight at all, you go and eat some fast food. Yes, there's a spike of pleasure where you feel great. Don't argue that. But is 6 seconds after you finish that last bite, now the happiness phase starts. Do you feel happy with yourself after you've eaten a fast food meal, junk food stuff, processed food stuff? Do you feel happy physically, mentally, emotionally? 6 seconds after you take the last bite? Uzo, you just say, you just magic word. The 2 chicken sandwich deal is my guilty pleasure. That used to be mine too. McDonald's used to do the 2 chicken special, and it was like the biggest holiday of the year for me. I would get as many of them I could before they'd stop the special. I know right where you're at. But I will tell you, the only way I was able to do that was because I was so completely disconnected from my body and mind. And as I got connected to him, I wouldn't eat that shit now. I couldn't. Like, I could do it, but then I'd feel so shitty. So again, 6 seconds after you take 6 seconds after you take the last bite of that second chicken sandwich, Uzo, go sit quietly in a chair for 1 minute. Notice how it feels in your body. Notice how your mouth feels. Notice how your breathing is. Notice what you're saying to yourself about having just eaten 2 chicken sandwiches from a junk food, fast food place. Notice what emotions you're feeling. Are you feeling positive and hopeful and motivated and excited and ready to take on the world and at your best? Proud of yourself? Is that how you feel 6 seconds after you eat the chicken sandwich? I sometimes regret it. There you go. You don't sometimes regret it, Uzo. You regret it every single time. You're sometimes aware of the regret. But I ignore it, honestly. Eating more food just makes me happy again. Again, Uzo, it's not making you happy. It's distracting you from your lack of happiness. Every time we go and have junk food stuff, fast food stuff, processed food stuff, we get a boost of pleasure. And then it ends. And then the happiness phase starts. And the food you ate either makes you more happy or less happy. And if you feel regret sometimes you feel regret after it, and sometimes what? You feel elation? You're super proud of yourself? No. You feel regret every single time. Sometimes you're aware of it, sometimes you're not. So every time you finish eating fast food, pretty much, now I'm going to say sometimes there's special occasions and it feels okay, it feels right, whatever. But when we're doing it regularly, it starts to feel like regret. It starts to feel like, I got a problem. I shouldn't do this. I wish I didn't do it. I don't want to do this anymore. That's not great. That's not happy. It's the opposite. And I just want to eat again because the pleasure happened. Now I'm in the happiness phase and I feel less happy. I don't like feeling less happy. How can I change this? Oh, guess how? Take a guess how? Yeah. Another boost of pleasure. Another boost of pleasure. So I would suggest that most of you, if you're 40, 30, 20 years into fast food habits, junk food habits, bullshit food habits, that you're not getting any of the happiness you used to get. You're getting smaller and smaller blips of pleasure that you're addicted to now, because as soon as the little blips of pleasure are off the map, you realize how shitty you actually feel. Hey, whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Izzo says, yeah, oh my God, you're right. I do distract myself with food. If I have a bad day, it's always there to comfort me, but I feel happy too. It's weird. It's both regret and happiness at once. It's not happiness at all. What happens is just like a substance that sometimes people use to feel better and then they get addicted to. It's the same type of thing. You get focused on the pleasure piece because the pleasure piece distracts you from the regret, from the feeling of being out of control, from the feeling of being frustrated with yourself, from the feeling of always struggling with your weight. And that's where you're typically at. And the only reprieve you get from that is when you get to eat some bullshit that gives you a little blip of pleasure. And so it distracts you from the pain, and then it brings you into a deeper level of pain. So one of the core ideas of programming yourself thin is this pleasure versus happiness dynamic. And, this is based in neuroscience too, by the way. I'm not just bullshitting you here. This is literally this is built around the dopamine desire circuits. You have a dopamine desire circuit, a dopamine control circuit. And dopamine desire could be summed up with pleasure. And it's the excitement of eating whatever you like to eat. Especially the more sugar, the more processing, the more pleasure you get out of it. It's designed that way. It's unnatural, just like substances. A coca leaf starts as a leaf. It's not going to get you that result as sniffing it when it's concentrated down. And processed foods, junk food stuff's the same thing. So you're getting this boost, this spike of dopamine, but it's leading you to a lower average level of dopamine overall. And so when you start to make your food choices based on happiness, the dopamine control circuit, we start elevating our level of happiness. And so we don't need to rely on the boosts of pleasure as much. We're always going to have boosts of pleasure. They're great. But we want to have more happiness eating. We want to really focus on the happiness piece because that's what you're looking for. So user says, I feel stuck though. I have nothing else to use for comfort. I love food more than hobbies. Yeah, well, exactly. That again, that's another part of programming yourself in is how to deal with the emotions, how to feel the emotions you want to feel and deal with the shitty emotions you don't want to feel. And again, you don't live in America here, but us dumb Americans, we have been conditioned our whole lives to use food as our main emotional management strategy. And so most people have very limited ability to deal with emotions genuinely. They don't have the strategies. I didn't. I used food and alcohol to deal with my emotions. And now 30 years later, I use, my work, learning, guitar, yoga, meditating, my lifestyle, playing basketball. Yeah, there's a million things I do that make me genuinely happy. But yeah, what you say, you hit the nail on the head though. You don't love food more than hobbies. You don't have hobbies that do it for you. So it makes sense to take some time and figure out what things truly jazz you up, because then the food becomes less important. I'm the eater of my family. It's literally my nickname. It's my identity since day one. Yep. But I'm tired of it. I totally get it, Uzo. A little bit more of my history, but it doesn't take much analysis to figure out why I'm here. My dad died at 54 of a heart attack. I was 9 years old. And he was literally known as an eater. Same thing. Literally, he was just the greatest guy on the planet. It's just an awesome guy. Funny, so nice, helpful, generous, just amazing, hard worker, best dad ever. Awesome. And his identity was that of an eater. And he was obese. And he died at 54 of a heart attack. He had gout, had all sorts of health issues. His health was not good because he just was an eater. And that was part of my challenge, was changing my identity, because I wanted to be like dad, and even as like 25, it's like, okay, I'd lost the weight, but I'm like, okay, am I really not gonna be an eater? This is really not gonna be my identity. So that's whole another level thing. That's again, another piece of program yourself in is the self-image piece that we go through. But you're so right that how we identify ourselves has a huge impact on our weight. But by the way, Uzo, I hope we've come full circle. This has been very fun for me, Uzo, because I've never gotten to go in depth on why intuitive eating is a crock of shit by itself. Because intuitive eating, you haven't changed your identity at all. And if you identify as an eater, your intuitions, what do you think your intuitions of an eater are going to be? So again, if you learn how to install the identity of a thin, healthy person, then your intuitions may be quite a bit better. So, yeah, sorry to hear that. Well, thank you. Yeah. Again, it's why I'm here. Things happen. And, but again, and that was a big part of it, learning how to deal with that, talking about emotions. I was, what happened at 9, and the next 10 years of my life were just absolutely out of control, progressively more and more out of control with my behavior. And I believe a core of it was I had no idea how to deal with the anger, the shame, the grief, the sadness, all the emotions I had from him passing away. I had no idea how to deal with these. And so I ran a million miles away from him towards food, alcohol, crazy behavior. And it wasn't until I could kind of sit with myself and genuinely work through those emotions that I feel I finally had firm ground to build my goal weight on. And yeah. So I'm glad I could help. Yeah, I guess the intuition thing is funny. I appreciate you saying that, because it is. I think about intuition on a very, very deep level, and it's just never made sense to me. Because again, intuitive eating, listen, motherfucker, if you're overweight and been overweight for 20 years, and it's funny you say now I'm identify as an eater, what do you think your intuitions are? Like, how are you going to trust your intuitions? That's what got you into trouble in the first place. So it is funny. It makes me laugh that by intuitive eating, you actually mean just really paying attention to my eating, which is the opposite of intuitive. But anyways, it's funny. It helps me. Hopefully this helps you as well. Just Jade says food does bring happiness, but it's very short-lived. I do not agree. I think there's a big distinction between pleasure and happiness. And I think if you can internalize the difference between pleasure and happiness, you'll be well on your way to making some dramatic changes. And I think the specific difference is that pleasure is momentary. Pleasure is you get pleasure while you're doing it. So you get pleasure from the food while you're eating it. So, you're eating the cake, you're eating the cookies, the ice cream, whatever it is. While you're doing it, it's extremely pleasurable and it's a spike. But the second you stop eating, that's how you know if it's happiness or pleasure. Because you could eat an apple and you could enjoy the apple to some degree. It's a much smaller spike. However, you are getting happiness out of the apple because the second you stop eating it, 6 seconds after you take your last bite, your happiness goes up. Physically, you feel nourished, lighter, healthier. Mentally, you're proud of yourself. You're saying nice things to yourself. Wow, look, I can't believe I did that. Look at me. Good job. Emotionally, you feel good. You feel successful. You feel on track. You feel momentum. All of those things are happiness. So I think of a big difference there. Now, again, don't get me wrong. Occasionally, like again, when you're at your goal and you got everything kind of dialed in, but even for me, like my pleasure foods really don't contribute to they contribute to my overall happiness in a sense because I like to have pleasure foods in general. But I think there's a big difference between pleasure and happiness. And I do not believe that fast food creates happiness in you. I think the opposite. And that's what I think. Let's see. Kelly said, have you read the Intuitive Eating book? Officially the one by Tribble and Resch. I have not. Yeah, it says this helps so much. Good. How long you been thin for? Sorry, I missed it. 30 years. I had one blip 12 years ago. I'm in the middle of a little blip now, but it's just a little blip. I won't remember this and this will go away, but it is funny. It is just a confluence of events the last 4 months. But even I can get caught up. That's why I try to say too, the idea that your goal weight is not a fixed moment in time. Like it's not like this end point that we're just at, it's a living, breathing thing forever. You always have to have some sense of it. And as far as TikTok is probably gonna think I'm recording because I haven't gone through any of your questions, but I'm going to scan through them real quick and get to them. And if you have any questions, TikTok, ask them now. And Mario says, I'm so amazed by you. Honestly, I can't believe more people aren't talking about this way of losing weight. Yeah, no, I think that every day. But I understand why, and I'm excited to know that that's going to change quickly, because I have a lot more mass media things coming out here. Book, the quiz, just a lot of stuff coming out that's going to get the word out. D says, I need to lose weight for an upcoming surgery. What's the best way to get started? I hate the word need. I almost find that never exists. I much rather, I want to lose weight so I can have the healthiest surgery possible. I'd rather reframe that real quick, but the best way to get started, D, I feel like you've been starting. What, right? You've been working on things, haven't you? And you're in the program, I mean, like, so what I would say though, I mean, the best way to get started with your worst eating habit. It's always the same thing. The best place to get started with your weight loss is your worst eating habit. So it says I lost 110 pounds with gastric and the last 30 with Monjuro. Thank you. Paula, I could not get on yesterday. The call would not go through either. Yeah, sorry, Paula. Zoom was down. It was Zoom was down. Literally, it started at 3:00, right when our coaching call started. Zoom went down. So I apologize for that. Tina says, it took me almost a year to lose 15 pounds, 55 more to go. LOL. I get it, Tina. That kind of sucks. But also remember that those 15, congratulations, first of all, and I'm proud of you for sticking with it for a year. So that's quite an accomplishment. And, understand that you're also, you want to lose 70 pounds, you lost 15, you're about 20% of the way to your goal. So congratulations. And the fact that you've done it for a year and the fact that it's been relatively slow weight loss and you've stuck with it means that you've got a real solid foundation mindset wise. And so you're 20% of the way there. Keep improving and optimizing whatever it is you did to drop the 15 pounds so that the next year you can kick that rate up a little bit. But then in 2 years from now, so I know it said LOL, 55 more to go, LOL, but in 3 more years, you're right at your goal weight pretty much for good though. Great job. People freaking out. 3 years. Love your shirt. Thank you. Appreciate that. What's up, Don? Don says my intuitive eating has me up 5 pounds right now. Yeah, right. For sure. What's up, Gentle Monster? Started my day by watching your videos. It really helps me change my mindset. Yeah, of course. Of course. That's my program does. Again, I call it kind of the cocoon, right? Because you get morning and evening hypnosis sessions that you listen to. And it just kind of bookends your day with calm, relaxed, good ideas in your head. So yeah, as you can imagine, that might make a difference, right? What you're feeling and thinking in the morning may impact how you eat during the day, if you can believe that. Thanks, Karen. Kat says, how to gain strength while losing weight. Lift weights, do resistance training. Notification. Violation detected. End live now to avoid suspension. What's that mean? End live now within 1 minute to avoid suspension. Geez, I don't even know what any of that means. Greg says, my fingers still smell from last night. Okay. I hope we're talking about some fast food you got, I hope. Jojo said, I've been losing weight, and yesterday I was 125 and today 127. How is that possible? Because your weight fluctuates. That's why. Your weight fluctuates. And it's always crazy to me when people are so shocked by this, because if you don't think that your weight fluctuates, you're in for a real hard time. Let's see here. Yeah, if you don't realize that your weight fluctuates, you're going to be in a real hard time. Your weight will fluctuate 2 to 5 pounds a day, potentially, depending on your size and situation. And if you're a woman, you know what I mean? Like your cycle comes, that's going to impact your weight. So again, relax. You're still losing weight just because your weight going up a little bit. That's why I recommend people weigh themselves every day so they can understand what your body. Because the idea that you don't think your weight fluctuates, I don't know what you think, but it's not accurate. It's going to set you up for failure. Yeah, Don says I literally get sick within minutes of eating fast food. Most people do. They're just, again, you've built up a tolerance to it. If you went and I'm not going to do it. I just saw the notifications. I don't know if that was real. I've never seen that before. But usually if I mention any substances in a specific way, they will ban me. So I'm not going to do it. But, when you think about substances, people that use them build up a tolerance to them is what the language we use. You don't think you can build up a tolerance to fast food and junk food stuff and processed food stuff? This shit's not making you feel good. You don't have to believe me. Jojo says, do you ever eat unhealthy foods now? Unhealthy foods is a funny phrase to me because in my world, we've called it kind of, I'm moving away from this. This is actually one of the changes that's happened in the upcoming version. I'm not going to call it clean eating anymore. I found out that kind of triggers people a bit. It's going to be called happiness eating. So that's going to take a little bit of a reframe. So let me stick with what's easy, the digestible. Food and fuel. No, fuel and fun. So I think of foods kind of as fuel and fun. Pleasure, fuel. So that now that being said, unhealthy. What I consider to be unhealthy is processed food stuff, junk food stuff, fast food stuff. I eat very little of that. I do not eat much processed food stuff. So for me to eat, what are my pleasure foods? My pleasure foods, I'll go to the place that makes burritos, but they make them there, like with good ingredients, but there's a lot of calories in it, right? I'll get dessert, but it's a higher quality dessert. So my whole opinion and perception of junk food stuff, fast food stuff is extremely low. So I don't have a high esteem for it. So I don't have a lot of craving for it. So I very rarely eat like junk food stuff. I will occasionally, like what's something I ate recently? I like a chip witch. But again, for me, I don't eat a lot of that stuff. So it's easy for me to look at like the back of the ingredients, see 100 ingredients and be like, this is kind of gross, but it tastes good. I enjoy it. There's not too many things like that though. So unhealthy, I don't eat a lot of unhealthy food. If you define unhealthy by processed food stuff, junk food stuff, fast food stuff, I don't eat very much of that. Even like junk food stuff I eat, like I'll eat these hot, like tortilla chips, but again, they're organic. They're kind of natural, limited number of ingredients, a couple levels from nature. They're junk food. I mean, it's oil, corn chips, seasoning, so technically it's junk food, but it's at a higher level. Is it unhealthy? It's not that unhealthy. So I do not eat a lot of unhealthy food because it has very little appeal to me. In the same way that if you're a non-smoker, cigarettes don't have a lot of appeal to you, right? The way you think about them, it's kind of gross. You don't feel that compelled to smoke them. So I feel the same way about junk food and fast food stuff because I've learned so much about it, by the way. I'm not some superhuman willpower machine. I'm the opposite. What I've done is I've learned about processed food stuff. I've looked behind the curtain and seen how they create junk food stuff, processed food stuff, what it does to your body. And it's made it much less appealing to me. Again, it's the same exact process most people have gone through with cigarettes. If you're old enough to remember, cigarettes at one point, no one thought they were healthy, but no one realized they were that bad. And there's been an education process for the last 30 years, 40 years, educating us how bad they are for you. And that's led to way lowering rates of it. So that's how I think about unhealthy food being fast food stuff, junk food stuff, all that shit, Oh, okay. It was a thank you. Thank you. That wasn't a notification, by the way. It's someone with the username notification. It's a common TikTok joke. Yes. I had that feeling too, but I literally have never seen that. So that's a good one. That's a good joke. And I kind of knew it wasn't real anyways, because I got way backed up on my TikTok comments and it had been many minutes had gone by since they hadn't. But thanks for letting me know about that. Yep. Don says I'm out of blip too after 2 years the same weight. Yeah. We know the stressor that has us here. Yeah. I specifically know what they are though. That's what I mean. Like, again, I know you all it's the all or nothing diet mindset. You're either losing weight or you're gaining weight. And, and so for me though, and I just share that. I know this is going to sound like some superhuman feat to you. I know that, but I'm just going to share it with you anyways, because it's not. I do this, I do this every day, and I watch people that used to think one way think a different way. So every day I watch this happen. So I know it's true, but I will share it with you anyways, and you can believe me or not. But so my weight starts going up, let's just say 8 pounds. Okay. I'm not worried at all. Like I'm calm and relaxed. Why am I calm and relaxed? Because your state of being, I cannot wait for you all to get the new Program Yourself Thin course. Can I just say that? Like, I'm telling you, I'm working on this thing in the background and it is next level. It's so exciting for me. Anyways, one of the main pieces of weight loss is that most people think about weight loss and they think about eating less. And they're going to eat less by following a diet and forcing themselves to do it with willpower. That's it. That's how they're going to lose weight. But we have to go a level deeper and say your behaviors, what you're going to eat, has a lot less to do with what you know, right? Knowing what to do is important, okay? But whether you actually do that or not comes down to your state. How do you feel? So you could start your keto plan, your intuitive eating, your counting point, it does not matter. Whatever your plan is to lose weight, you could start that plan. And if you're in a really focused, calm, good, motivated mood, you'll follow it. You'll start doing it. You'll lose weight. But knowing what to do is not the main lever controlling your weight loss. The main lever is how you feel. And most of the time, as you approach your weight loss and you start your weight loss, you go into a state of overwhelm and stress. So usually when you think about weight loss at this point, it elicits a state of stress in you. And when you're stressed out and anxious and nervous and worrying, you're not at your best. Can you believe that? So for me, being 8 pounds up, the first thing I'm going to do is relax and calm down. It's fine. And I've been relaxed and calm the whole way, paying attention. Well, what's going on? Oh, I see that. Okay. So I'm aware of it. But you're not changing it, Jim? You're not changing it? Sometimes you can change things and sometimes you got to let them ride out a little bit. I know you all hate to hear that, right? Because it's like when you're a dieter, just you did do it or not. Do it or not. Piss or get off the pot. Come on. You're either going to do it or not. Okay. Well, what do you do when you're not doing it? Again, it's the dieting is an all or something mindset. You're either doing it 100% or you're not doing anything at all. Program Yourself Thin is an all or something mindset. So yeah, go ahead and do your all thing. Knock yourself out. I'll do all sometimes. But most of the time, you're going to spend at something. And for the rest of you, most of the time, you're going to spend at nothing. So all or nothing is actually wrong. It should be called nothing or all, because most of the time, you're at nothing. And then sometimes you go to all. And then you go back to your home base of nothing. Let's be honest. So the secret isn't to be all or nothing. It's to be all or something and never go back to nothing. Always be doing something. And now I've been doing this for 30 years. So my something is a high level. My something and all are kind of like this, to be honest, or my nothing used to be down here. So now even if I put 8 pounds on, I know why. I'm still engaged. I'm still drinking my water. I'm still getting my sleep. I'm still meditating. I'm still relaxing. I'm still breathing. I'm still nourishing myself, still moving, still meditating, still practicing gratitude, still learning, still doing my hobbies. But things have happened, you know what I mean? Just in life. It kind of nudged me over to my eating got a little off track. I know exactly why. I was a bit depleted to be able to fix it, you know, especially with the motivation that I had. And I let it slip a little bit. That's normal though. You know what I mean? Like most people can't really describe. I just had a call like that today. A client of mine, she goes, well, I went on a cruise. She put 10 fucking pounds on. And she goes, the last time I went, now she goes on cruises all the time and she could easily put 10 to 15 pounds on a cruise. Okay. And she goes on a number of cruises. Since I've been working with her, probably 15 cruises. And she keeps getting better and better at them. But the last cruise, 2 cruises ago, was her best cruise. She goes, I only put 3 pounds on. Holy shit. It was amazing. And then she goes to the next cruise and she put 10 pounds on. And she's very disappointed. She goes, I don't understand. She goes, I was doing this and I was doing this. And I was doing this. And I don't know how I put 10 pounds on. I said, well, I know how. You ate more calories than you did the previous one. She calmed down. She goes, oh, because of this and this and this. Oh, see, but that's what we all do. With dieters, as soon as they start putting some weight on, they freak the fuck out. It's just like alarm bells going off in their brain. You can't think straight. You can't pay attention to anything. Not me. I'm calm and relaxed. I know exactly what I've been doing to make the weight go up. And that is prepared me for right now when I'm going to start turning that back down and bring the weight back down to where I want it to go. But I'm doing all of this in a calm, grounded way. Look at me. I'm not nervous. And I'm not pretending. You can only believe me if you believe me, but I promise you, I had to stop fucking button on this and be like, oh God, I really am nervous. How am I going to lose this weight? What am I going to do? Okay. No eating today. Don't eat today, Jim. Don't eat today. Like I promise you, I swear on my kids that I don't do that. I will turn this off and I will do the exact same thing that I'm telling you. I will start to systematically and strategically start to dial my eating back to where it was when I was at my goal weight. I know exactly where the little things have come that made my weight go up. I was aware of them while they were happening. But you didn't change them? Yeah. Sometimes you're going to start eating shittier and you're going to be aware of it and you don't change it. Oh, gasp. Can you believe it? No one can even imagine that's possible, I feel like. Right? Because every diet, you're either doing it or you're not. Yeah, well, sometimes your eating isn't great. So that's where I'm at. But again, the main point that I start with to get my weight back to where I want it to is relaxing, calming down. And I suggest you all do the same. That's why I suggest you all get the hypnosis session I give you. It's free. But hypnosis, I always want to remind people this, I forget this, that people don't realize that hypnosis is not just like the words you're hearing and me like, putting you in trance and changing your behavior. It's you relaxing physically. It's you breathing more deeply. It's you calming down and being more aware of your body and your mind. So it changes you physically too, into a more relaxed, calm version of yourself. Melancholy says, you just unlocked my reason for getting fat in the first time and why I'm resistant to let go of the identity of fat girl. Wow. Thank you. You're welcome. You take a meditative walk today and work this out. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know exactly how I helped you that melancholy, but again, I hear that all the time. That's the piece again. You weigh what you want. I know you don't believe that, but you weigh what you want subconsciously. You weigh exactly what you want subconsciously. And I don't know why you wouldn't believe that. It's very empowering. It's very empowering to realize you weigh exactly what you want to weigh. And you're really confusing yourself when you keep telling yourself, I want to lose weight more than anything in the world, but I can't do it. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't think that's true. I could have that argument all day. But Amanda says, you said Manjaro when reading a comment. I did. You said Manjaro when reading a comment. I don't know what that means. I love that happiness eating. Oh, you like that? I love the happiness eating thing. I think it's profound. I told you, I did the thing that's the hardest thing in the world for me to do. Is I'm an idea person. So I love ideas. That's why I love doing the podcast. I just sit there. What I don't like to do is go back over those ideas and like work them into work them from being this much ideas to being like sharp as an edge point. I don't like that type of work, but I've been doing it. And that's why this next version of Program Yourself Then by a lot is going to be the best version. And because all the ideas are so well honed now, but they're all going to be put together in a whole pattern that all reinforces itself. It's super exciting for me. And it'll be exciting for you too. I can't wait for y'all to get it. Tricky says lost 2 stones since September last year. Wow, congratulations. Nice job, Tricky. Great job. Calorie deficit, 15,000 to 20,000 steps. You have to stay consistent. Yeah, again, I'm proud of you, Tricky. Great job. Keep it up. But we're here for a reason. And that reason is to make the distinction between dieting and weight mastery. And dieting is about getting to your goal weight, and weight mastery is about living at your goal weight forever. I hate the phrase calorie deficit so much because calorie deficit implies that it's going to be a temporary thing. No one wants to live their life in any kind of deficit. It's not a positive phrase. So I'm nitpicking a little bit. I hear you. In 15 to 20,000 steps, again, I want to let you know that's really not the reason you've lost the weight, and it's not going to be the reason you continue to maintain your weight. So, and you're not going to stay at that level anyways, most likely. I know this sounds negative. Please understand, I'm not being negative. I'm pointing. Let me just preface this by saying 95 to 98% of people that lose weight on a diet put it back on. Okay. So if you believe those numbers, then it's my job here to point out that losing weight is great. Living at your goal weight is something completely different. And when I see calorie deficit, I see diet. When I hear 15 to 20,000 steps, I hear diet. When I hear you have to stay consistent, I hear diet. It's worked for you to lose weight. Great job. Almost 40 pounds now in 5 months. Wonderful. Or 8 months. Great job. Okay. But me personally, calorie deficit, I like to change with, I'm not going to create a calorie deficit. I'm going to reduce my average calorie consumption down to my goal weight and stay there forever. You see how that framing is a little bit different? When I just frame it that way, it's built for the long term. I'm going to reduce my average calorie consumption down to my goal weight and then live there for the rest of my life. I'm setting myself up for that right from the beginning. Calorie deficit implies that it's going to be a temporary deficit so I can lose the weight. Then what? I'll figure it out. But you won't figure it out. No one figures it out. So I'm just point this out to you. Don't get upset with me. 15 to 20,000 steps, wonderful. You know, if that's part of your normal routine, but if you're really fixated on getting 15, 20,000, that's an all activity and it may fall away. And you have to stay consistent. Most people can stay consistent with difficult things like calorie deficits and 15 to 20,000 steps for a limited period of time. So you've gotten 8, 9 months. That's great. But my state of reference is 2 years. And so it's very difficult to stay consistent with really extreme things. That's all I'm going to say on that. But great job. Okay, great job. Karen says something's better than nothing. When you said that, changed everything for me. Yeah, the something thing is a real big deal. Mine's eating after dinner. Kitchen's not staying locked down. Yep, exactly, Don. But now you know exactly what it is. Tricky's over here. Oh, I see. There it is. Yeah, okay. So Tricky's giving us more of their dieting strategies that have helped them lose 2 stone. So great job in dieting down to a lower weight. I'm great job with that piece of it. But again, I just want to make crystal clear the difference between dieting and weight mastery. I can't stress that enough. And Tricky goes on to say, I drink 4 liters of water a day. I fast 18 hours a day. At the end of the day, you need to want to lose weight. That's true and not true because your strategies are very unsustainable. I hate to tell you this because I know they feel sustainable now forever. I hope they are for you. I know I sound like a jerk, but how many of you all have lost weight doing something extreme for a while and then put the all weight back on because you couldn't stay consistent because what you're trying to do was too hard? So fasting for 18 hours is a very extreme thing that most people are not going to be able to keep up. And that's just, what can I say? I'm here to give you a different perspective. And so I'm proud of what you did, but I'd start transitioning quickly into thinking about how you're going to maintain this. But yeah. Oh man, I said, oh, I was thinking that was why the end live comment earlier. Oh, I got you. No, yeah, who knows? I don't think so, but I was thinking it was because I mentioned sometimes if you mention substances in the wrong with the wrong language, they'll ban it real quick. Oh, the weight loss stuff or violation. No, I don't think they care about that. Because I say those all the time, and I don't feel like that triggers it. For me, usually what triggers it is again, when we talk about substances. Vicky says, is PYT only being revamped? What about Thrive? No, just PYT. Just and really, I mean, Program Yourself, then what's being revamped is the blueprints are being redone. And then that's going to lead to the trainings. They're very similar to what's in there. They're just going to be structured slightly differently in a way that all reinforces itself as a easy to understand conceptual system. So that's what's changing. Circle app will be continued to use. Yes. Circle app will be expanded too. So it'll get better and better. Queen Victoria, pleasure eating is an immediate feeling. Happiness eating is a long-term state. Yes. Thank you, Queen. Sometimes I need translators to translate my long words into short words. What's up, Joy? All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you're not in my world, go click the link in my bio or go to Program Yourself, then get the free hypnosis session I give you. Watch the video I made for you. Get on that list because I also have the how to find your goal weight training. Well, it's not training. It's a little overview, but it's a quiz. You take a quiz and you get to find your real goal weight because you don't have your right goal weight right now. So that's coming. So make sure you get on my list. I'll be sending that out this weekend. And get in there, listen to the hypnosis, watch the video. This is a live. So I'm here live every day, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern. Come check me out. If you miss it, want to watch it, it's also a podcast. Program Yourself then that you can find on all the podcast platforms. So, all right, everyone have a super day and we'll talk soon. Bye.